All right. I was wrong. I thought The Boys was back. I thought the first 2 episodes were a sign of great things to come, that we were about to get this all-out, exciting, explosive final season. But no, it was pretty disappointing. It wasn't the worst season. It had its moments, and the finale itself, although very rushed, hits where it needs to. This season just never seems focused on delivering now. It's so obsessed with teasing you what's to come. Just wait until Homelander gets V1 and becomes immortal. Just wait until Butcher snaps and tries to kill all the Supes. Just wait until our prequel show drops next year. Here's 10 tie-ins and references every episode. After all this build-up, the boys being captured, Starlight on the run, working with the Gen V crew, Butcher out there with the virus, and Homelander in full control, you'd think the writers would like to, I don't know, explore a world under those conditions? That's what worked so well with the opening episode for me. You don't need an all is lost moment. You don't need Homelander to become immortal to set the stakes high. From the opening of this season, the stakes are already high because of where we're picking up from. The boys, with their backs against the wall in a more dangerous setting than ever before, have one single mission: kill Homelander at all costs. This season was set up for success, but they still somehow dropped the ball. Instead of bouncing off of that incredible setup and literally using anything that Gen V built, they slam on the brakes after episode 2 and focus entirely on a race to get V1 and setting up a prequel show. Soldier Boy, the first real method to kill Homelander, is now on his side, so we have to go with Plan B, the virus. Oh no, the virus doesn't work on Supes with V1, and Samir destroyed all the research, so now we have to save this one last vial, we can't use it, and we have to get V1 to make a version that can kill Homelander. Oh no, Homelander now has the last dose of V1. Time for Plan C. If only there were a Supe like Soldier Boy that could, I don't know, directly manipulate what's in a Supe's blood. Let's make Kimiko have the same ability as Soldier Boy. That's it. Don't write Soldier Boy in a compelling way. Let's make him flip-flop back and forth every episode and then fridge him. Don't have Annie bring in Marie after all the Odessa stuff. Cancel that shit and ship her to Canada. Don't use Ryan for more than 20 minutes. He's too weak. He's too little. Let's set up the idea that we can replicate this experiment in the episode before we need to use it, which, by the way, is the last episode of the show. Don't use any of the methods that have been set up for seasons. This is a satisfying ending. Sage uses Ashley to read Soldier Boy's mind, finds out he's gonna help Homelander get V1, and then when they get to bomb site, her first genius idea is to call Soldier Boy? Love is a variable I can't calculate my ass. The entire reason you freaked out and left the tower, cut out your chip and helped the boys, is because you knew this was gonna happen.
They have a lead on V1?
Yes, some guy named Bombsight.
Where's Soldier Boy's head in all this?
You were right. He's thinking about helping Homelander.
But Homelander getting V1 doesn't even feel important anyways, because the show literally cannot end with him still alive. And if you thought it could end that way, he doesn't even do anything once he's immortal. He isn't stronger, he doesn't act more reckless and free, he's still beaten by 3 regular level Supes. Regardless if it's V1 or Compound V, the blast from Kimiko would still function the same. At least the end for Homelander still lands because it's what the show has always been building to. Take away his powers and he's nothing. I loved that he went out pathetically, begging and crying to Butcher to let him live, feeling powerless for the first time in his whole life, and I love that Butcher was the one to do it, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel quick. The fight felt too easy and too similar to Herogasm. He's killed so quickly when a character like him, I think, should suffer a bit more. Butcher's ending gave me a similar feeling too. It goes exactly where you think it's going, but it's so quick. Yeah, we've known Butcher would be willing to go to these lengths, but from a pacing perspective, the flip feels so sudden. The scene with him and Huey in an empty Vought Tower is incredible. It's even better than Homelander's death in my opinion. Huey being the one to kill Butcher after everything they've been through and then sitting there sobbing over his body hits very hard. I just wish that conflict wasn't a single scene at the very end. Homelander and Butcher's deaths, Kimiko becoming the ultimate solution to killing Homelander, it all just happens so quickly and feels like the writers are checking off boxes before the show can end. Just a bit more focus and breathing room could have made the whole season satisfying instead of mediocre with a decent ending. Give us more time with the boys together as a unit so that the loss of Frenchie and his note claiming them as his family hits harder. Spend more time with Butcher after Homelander is killed. Explore how he's still not happy. They could have done an entire episode with him as the final villain and given all of the characters moments with him. Slowly build up Kimiko becoming the second version of Soldier Boy instead of using her as a joke all season just to introduce that concept in the penultimate episode. There is so much time in a season of television to develop these crucial plot lines and characters, yet the show decides to spend half of it as a shameless tease for Vought Rising, bringing in new characters, concepts, constantly referencing Soldier Boy's past, instead of focusing on the main characters in their final season.
Look, I get it. Obviously, you got studio guys who are all, we need to plant seeds for the sequel. But I feel like it's kind of a disservice to your fan base, and also just not great storytelling.
Goldie, bombsite, Clara V1, Goldie, bombsite, Clara V1, Goldie, bombsite. I get it. Those things will be important in a different show a year from now. Gen V tied directly into The Boys Season 4, but never hijacked the show like this. It just introduced the virus, and even then, most of The Boys Season 4 still revolved around the virus in its own way. Gen V made Marie Project Odessa, a soup as strong as Homelander, a weapon to use against him that Starlight is looking into and enlists, spends an entire season getting stronger, and she can't control her powers? What? A whole season building her up, resurrecting people, fixing terminal issues with other soups, literally killing Godolkin and thanking him for the level up, and she just can't control them now? And before you can even start to question how lazy that is, their show is canceled and she's just hauled off screen. If that is how they're gonna treat a spin-off tie-in, one that was actually pretty good, proved itself in existing on its own and focusing on new characters, why would I have any faith or interest in the next one? And honestly, the leaked first trailer for Vought Rising looks pretty great. But even if it's incredible and they're excited for it to release, let that show speak for itself. You don't need to shove it down my throat every week that these new characters are going to be relevant in 2027. Develop the characters you have in this show in this season. Gen V characters? Off to Canada, fuck them. No season 3, Kate and Sam don't even exist anymore. Starlight and MM have Ouroboros-ass character arcs that just eat themselves. Other characters point out they aren't acting like themselves enough times for them to realize, and then it just goes away. Why did the show need to halt to a stop to have her reconcile with her dad and reveal she has an incel brother when her 2-minute conversation with Marie seems to have way more of an effect on her? Kiwi is there to be the heart or the moral compass of the show, which the show loves to remind you every chance they can, so that when he actually does think that they've lost, it feels like a gut-wrenching all hope is lost moment. But it just doesn't. He meets Translucent's son and has to come face to face with the consequences of the first person he killed. That's pretty deep and interesting. What if we just kill Maverick? Also, the series ending with him should work. It should be a bookend thing that's pretty clean. It starts and ends in the same place with the same person. But I'm sorry. Is naming their kid Robin not weird? I get the sentiment, but the scene plays out so strangely to me. Naming his child after his murdered girlfriend in the same spot she was murdered, is that not tone deaf? Kimiko is 90% terribly dubbed in dialogue and then 10% ass pull, becoming the Homelander killing weapon the episode before it's needed. Frenchie had no new trauma to be his usual season-long arc of grief, so they turn bro into a plot device. 2 times. He dies to keep Kimiko safe, and 20 minutes into the show later, he's a Force ghost telling her the real power is the power of love. Okay, that would hit hard if it wasn't 20 minutes prior or what happened to him happened on screen. That would have made me a little bit more sad. Instead, we spend more time with Dognot and Sheline sniffing each other's asses than seeing how Frenchie is killed. What are we doing? Black Noir 2. What does he even do? Soldier Boy, one of the best parts of season 3 and one of the things I was most excited to get more of, completely falls flat. He's one note. Both him and the legend have the exact same dialogue. Reference a time and place you did some degenerate thing with or to a celebrity. He constantly flip-flops between episodes on whether or not he wants to help Homelander, and his final reason is, it's what Clara would have wanted. The Deep continues to be a joke and still works because Chase Crawford has incredible delivery. Him screaming no at someone telling him he needs to have character development is hilarious. But never in my life would I believe someone if they told me Firecracker would have one of the most compelling arcs in this season. Her scene where she breaks down on camera and then has to condemn her childhood priest, claiming Homelander as the one true god, that was actually an incredible scene. Her performance is one of the best of the season and somehow makes you sympathetic towards a character who until that point is a joke. And Ashley and O-Father as well, maybe not as well executed as Firecracker, had pretty interesting internal struggles themselves, supporting Homelander, going against what they believe in and know is right because of their fear of him. The only two characters that I was still fully invested in were Butcher and Homelander, but not because this season did anything interesting with them, because the whole series is built around their feud, the idea that one day they have to go toe-to-toe and one has to kill the other. All that build up from season 4 with Butcher, betraying the boys, killing Newman, taking the virus on his own, and bonding with this cancer symbiote. It doesn't really matter, he's just like the same. Same status quo. Hey, I'm not going to apologize for what I did last season finale. Let's work together because there's no other way. So the only thing that's different is he has tentacles now, and even that doesn't feel like it matters. He went from ripping Newman in half like nothing to exclusively grabbing people and flipping cars. It would have been so much more interesting if the cancer itself was what pushed him over the edge. The few months he has left, putting him into this overdrive to kill Homelander while he's still alive, not this weird dark passenger Kessler thing that also doesn't matter. And the show as a whole really struggles with scaling. It's not just Butcher. 1 second, Starlight doesn't have enough electricity around her to use her powers, and she can barely float off the ground. Now she can just tackle the Deep across the state, bringing him to an ocean for no reason other than plot convenience. 1 second, Homelander can laser Kimiko in half, but when it matters, he can't. Homelander can travel across an entire building silently in seconds when he hears tapping, but then he can't dodge anything or try to fly away again after Ryan tackles him. He'd rather just sit there and stare at everyone. Scorched Earth this, Blood and Bone that. Meet Potential Man, guys. Just wait until he snaps. Once he has nothing to lose, the boys are so screwed. If the Flight 37 video is released, he's gonna go on a rampage. Now that he is V1, nobody can stop him. Homelander this season is almost a caricature of how he used to be. Anthony Starr has been and continues to be one of the best parts of the show. His performance is not the issue. He's evil, outright disgusting, and sick in the head. He's the perfect love-to-hate villain because of how unhinged and scary he can be. But that scariness is not all he is, and I think the show leaned way into that recently, and we kind of lost some of the magic. There was a point where he was a bit more nuanced, where his intelligence would show more than just the threat that he'll snap eventually. Just him walking into a room or flying by used to make you hold your breath, back when there were very few things stopping him from killing the boys. I think that's why the first episode of the season works for me. Huey walks into this room of people torn apart, and we know he could be next, but Huey is being used as bait to flush out Butcher and Starlight, so it's only a matter of time until they show up and someone gets killed. But then nothing happens. Sure, he goes after A-Train, but after that, never goes after the boys again because of the whole V1 plot. So there's no tension or sense of danger with any of the main characters because there's no way any of them would die to Teen Kicks, Oh Father, or one of the random 40 bald psychics. Why are there so many of those? It just adds on to the feeling that the show is buying time until he gets V1. Then shit can really hit the fan. But he gets V1 and nothing changes. There's no scorched earth, there's barely even a scorched room. No Homelander in space looking down at Earth. No collapsed Vought Tower, no Butcher walking up to the White House with all the soups floating over it. His death is satisfying and the ending overall is fine, but the path we took there this season felt like it had a completely different focus. It felt like a different season. It felt like just any other season of The Boys besides the first and last episode. But hey, a season that sacrifices character development and stakes in order to promote a prequel is probably exactly what Clara would have wanted, right? I loved this show. Regardless of the last 2 seasons being disappointments, I am sad to say bye to these characters. I wish it had gone out on a high note and hadn't become exactly what it used to make fun of, but I guess it could have been worse. At least it wasn't so bad that everyone convinced themselves there was a secret 9th episode. If you watch The Boys, drop your thoughts on the season in the comments. If you watched all the way through this video, you might as well drop a like and subscribe while you're here. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon with another video. Peace.